You're listening to Tassie Encounters Moments on Faith FM, and we're coming to you from Tasmania, right across Australia. Each weekday at 9 a.m, you can hear what the Bible says about past, current and future events. You can learn how to study the Bible more effectively. You can get to know who God is, why we're here and where we're going. And you can experience personal encounters with Jesus. I'm your host, Jason Cook, and today Tamika Spaulding is back with us. And we've been talking about the topic of standing in God's calling on Tassie Encounters Moments this week. So welcome back, Tamika.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Yeah. Do you want to just give us a quick recap about what we talked about yesterday?
Yeah, so we talked about Bible characters that have been called. We mentioned the disciples and Zacchaeus and, some different characters in the Bible. He called a whole nation, even.
Yeah, yes, true. Well, Israel was the nation who were meant to represent God, and if you really went through the Bible, you could spend hours and hours and hours talking about all of the people who were being called. Really, so we just scratched the surface there, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Well, actually, that leads straight into today's program because I've asked the question: have you been called? Mm. And I think if we did do a look into the Bible, is there anyone in the Bible that wasn't called?
True. That's a good question to ask. And we've got a question for all of our listeners to consider this week. We'd love to hear from you. And if you feel you'd like to share with us, we love getting messages from you. So the question that we want you to contemplate this week is, where has God asked you to stand? If he has, where is it? Where has he asked you to stand? What has he asked you to do or called you to do? So, but yeah, today's topic, have you been called? If you missed yesterday's, you can catch up on the Faith FM app. Just download it, Faith FM Australia, from your app store, or you can go to the website, faithfm.com.au, and listen online. You can find our programs there, or even on Apple Podcasts if you'd like to. So search for Tassie Encounters. You'll find us on Apple Podcasts and YouTube now, believe it or not. So, yeah, Faith FM has a YouTube channel and our programs go there as well. So, yeah. So, today, have you been called? Have you been called, Tamika?
Yeah, well, I thought I'd start with a story. I was in Bali a couple of years ago and I'd never been there before. It was completely foreign to me. And we were at a church and I went to a beautiful Seventh-day Adventist church, and it was quite international, really. There were people from all sorts of places in the world that were there, and I was sitting next to this German gentleman, and we hadn't spoken at all. We were actually singing a song in Balinese. Is that the right language?
Yeah, I think so, yep.
Yeah, and so we were actually singing, and I was wrestling with this idea. Does God have a purpose for me? Has he called me? If he called me, what would it be that he would be calling me to do? Would I know? And I was really thinking about it during this hymn singing, and I said, I sort of had a prayer, and I said, God, what is my purpose? Have I been called to do something? And I just had this thought, foreign thought, clear as day thought, you have the same calling as the man that's sitting next to you. Ask him what he is called to do. And so during the song service, I tapped him on the shoulder and I said, excuse me. And he looked at me and I said, what's God called you to do? And he looked at me a bit strange and then I thought, you sort of realise what it is that you're doing and you go, yeah, I've kind of been a bit weird. But he looked at me and he whispered back to me and he said, to share the love of God with others. And, it's the most, I guess, simplest kind of, thing that you could think to do. But in that moment, it was like this light bulb moment that I had. And I thought, yeah, I can agree with that. And so
I think that really is a calling for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah. So the question, have you been called? Yeah, we're going to look up some passages where, do you know, I would like to say we have all been called, and we've all been called to share the love of God with others. And it's a significant call. Would you like to read for us in Acts 1:8, and a place that I think that this is, you know, one area of the Bible that kind of gives us this call?
Absolutely. And it says here, but you shall receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you shall be witnesses to me in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the end of the earth. And I believe that's from the New International Version. It is. I've just confirmed it is.
Yeah, I didn't put my references next to any of my Bible verses. I've gone a little bit all over the place, you know. Sometimes I like some of the wording in different versions.
And I think that's a good thing to read different versions, because you can get different not totally different meanings, but you can get different depths of understanding from different versions, I think. Yeah. So, I just felt that this is such a powerful verse, because it really is it's a calling, and it's a challenge where, you know, at the time, you know, the people were called to go out and to spread what they knew of who Jesus had been to them when Jesus was here on earth, to go and tell their story, to tell what they had seen and who he was. To be witnesses, as it says
here. To be witnesses, yeah. And, you know, today we're being asked the same thing. You know, who is God to me? Who is he in my everyday life? What is he doing in my life? And being able to share that with everybody that I meet. So that is a place where I can share the love of God with others. There's another verse in Mark 16:15.
It says, and he said to them, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. I'm wondering how the dogs and cats respond to the gospel message.
You know, I was thinking, a little off topic, but I was thinking about this. You know, when you think about Noah's Ark, and, you know, you think about the character of who God is, which is somebody who, you know, he speaks to us where we have free choice to follow. And I think in keeping with his character, all of creation has the choice to follow. And I was thinking, you know, when the animals were guided onto the ark by the angels, you know, I wonder, was God whispering in their ear, come to the ark, you know, and the animals, they chose to follow.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that all creation does know the Creator. I don't know if that's a controversial thought, but it was just, I was sort of thinking, how did he force those animals on? Well, force is not God's character, so they must have chosen to follow. Oh, so if they chose to follow, then animals must know their Creator and hear his voice and can follow.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I guess as animals also, you know, as our pets, they get to know us, and you can teach them things, you can, you know, call them and they come to you. So I think in a similar way, those animals must have heard the call of God in that time. So anyway, that's a very different topic, but
a little bit of a different topic.
I think the creatures specifically that this is referring to are the people of all the world. Those humans, those created beings that are specifically called to hear the gospel, to share the gospel. Yeah.
What does it mean to you to be called, Jason?
Well, for me, it means that we have a purpose, that there's no point in time in our life where we can say, look, there's nothing I can do, because I think God created us with a purpose. He gives us that purpose. And so I think the first thing it means is, hey, do we have a relationship with God? Do we understand the gospel message? If we do, then he calls us to share that. Do we understand the love of God? If we do, then he calls us to share that. And maybe if we don't understand the love of God, we've got to start there. We've got to experience that so that we can then share it with someone else.
Yeah. And I think the fun part about sharing the love of God with others is, we can do that in all types of ways, creatively. I mean, this is one way, being on Faith FM and doing what we're doing right now. And then there's others that are artists, and there's writers, and there's speakers, and there's, people that make little gift bags. There's endless ways that we can live out that calling. Really.
Even just helping somebody or saying an encouraging word is sharing, God's love to someone.
And I think that God knows, he knows us so well, and he knows the special, unique ways that he's called us to do that. We all have something a little bit different to offer, which is what makes it so interesting.
Absolutely. You've got one more verse here. Did you want to look at that as well?
Yeah, did you want to read that one out? Yeah.
Sure. This is 1 Corinthians 7, verse 17. But as God has distributed to each one, as the Lord has called each one, so let him walk. And so I ordain in all the churches. So basically God is saying that he gives us something, because it says he's distributed to each one, and he calls each one to walk in that way that he's called.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you?
Well, I think that's really just an invitation, and an invitation to accept that, yes, I have a calling, I have something that I can do, and really, what is my response? And I suppose today my response is, as I like to try to respond every day, yes, Lord, I surrender, and I want to be able to be called and do the things that you're leading me in and through to share the love of God with others.
Absolutely. So, how do we hear that call, do you think?
It's I think, it's as unique as we are. We can hear him in Bible verses. We can hear him in thoughts. We can hear him in the voice of friends and family or others. It's really just we can hear him when we're speaking to him and just resting and waiting and waiting for him to speak to us.
I think we'll unpack that a little bit more as we go through the week as well. So
sounds good.
Yeah, awesome. We've got our book offer coming up, so stay tuned.
This program is made possible by the support of Adventist World Radio.
Our book offer is called Keeping Connection. This is by Zuzai Hizoki, Rediscovering the Power of Prayer. When we describe the Christian life as a relationship with our Creator, prayer is the connection that keeps this relationship alive, healthy, and growing. Drawing from the Bible, personal experience, and the communal life of the church, Keeping Connection reintroduces you to the life of prayer and its power to renew and transform your most important relationship. More than just a theory, prayer becomes practical, a vital part of your life lived with God. That is our book offer today. We encourage you to text us in and claim your free copy. TEM46 is the code. That's TEM46, and the number is 0488 880 891. That's 0488 880 891, TEM46. Thank you for joining us, and tomorrow we're going to be looking at the question, are we worthy to be called? So do join us then. But right now, this is Matt and Josie Minikis with The Called. May you encounter Jesus more today.
Sometimes I think I have to be perfect for God to use me. I think I have to know it all, never stumble, never fall. focus on all my inadequacies instead of what Christ can do through me. I forget to trust and I can't quite see that God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. And He'll supply your every need when you choose to give Him all. You can be too big for God to use, but you'll never be too small. 'Cause God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies His called. There is no one too young to serve, no one too old, no clay too hardened for our Father to mold. He has a place designed for you that no one else can fill, and He will give you what you need when you choose to do His will. 'Cause God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. And He'll supply your every need when you choose to give Him all. You can be too big for God to use, but you'll never be too small. 'Cause God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies His called. So don't hinder God with what you say you can't do. Just be willing and ready to be used. Go where He leads with a heart that is willing. No telling what He'll do through you. 'Cause God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. He'll supply your every need when you choose to give Him all. You can be too big for God to use, but you'll never be too small. 'Cause God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies His called. No, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies His called.
This program has been made possible by the support of Adventist World Radio.